We have with us Mr. Erick Massey, lost his mother this year in Delhi due to oxygen shortage. Erick, would you like to tell these politicians, I'm not going to ask you to pin the blame on a center or a state, but the point is, do you, after 3 months, feel a little cheated when you see, a communication that because data was not computed this way, that is why we cannot conclude that people died due to lack of oxygen?
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I think right from the start, we have been cheated. Like initially there was no system in place. There was no hospital beds. Then there were no medicines. We had to run here and there and arrange everything for ourselves. Then there was no oxygen. And after that, we lost a family member just because there was no oxygen in a hospital. Imagine that. I mean, we arranged everything right from tocilizumab, remdesivir, all the plasma and everything that hospital demanded. But then these guys did not tell us that go get oxygen. Imagine that there was no oxygen in the hospital and that's why we lost somebody in our family. I mean, imagine that. And after that, just yesterday we saw in Parliament that apparently the government reports that there were no deaths due to lack of oxygen. I mean, and people are talking about committees and this and that. So I think rather than that, these guys should have contacted one of us. We are a lot of people here who have lost our family members just because of that. If you are forgetting about any sort of death, then let me just, what I can do is I can play Mr. Valuja's interview also. The very next day when it happened in Jaipur Golden Hospital, he admitted that the deaths happened all because of oxygen shortage, right? And at the same time, now it's almost like, rubbing salt on our wounds, because now people, both the center and state governments are just trading charges here and there, shrugging off all the responsibility. So imagine what we must be going through, learning that, something of this nature has happened, and now nobody is ready to take the blame.
Do you think that this argument must be allowed to be presented and we must spare this sort of an argument? Again, the center is only saying this because the states have not compiled this data. So do you think the pressure has to be put in each state by each family member to come together as a collective to say, here we are the data?
See, that's what, if in case what the center is saying that the states did not inform them about any sort of death, so what were these guys doing all this time? Didn't they know that there were so many deaths all because of oxygen shortage? Why didn't they launch any sort of probe into it? If the states are not telling you about everything about the deaths and everything, so you should be the one who should be launching a probe, asking them to put together everything. And this is the problem, So you can go on saying that the states did not tell us anything. And yes, the states are wrong in their place. And Erick, something should be done for that also.
My final question, do you completely reject this zero death theory?
Definitely. I mean, look at us. I mean, in my knowledge, I know at least 12 to 15 people who lost their loved ones, their family members due to oxygen shortage. And there must be many. Imagine that this happened in Jaipur Golden Hospital, Gangaram Hospital, Batra Hospital. There were 1 or 2 more hospitals here. Imagine Goa. There was a government hospital there where it happened twice. That people died. Almost 50 people died.
Yes.
Just because there was no oxygen. So, I mean, if you calculate this, over 70, 80 people are here only. And if you count properly, then there will be many more. Imagine that.
Absolutely. Erick, thank you so much for coming out and speaking your mind very, very clearly. Thank you very much. If we as a country have a collective conscience, we must all together reject this zero death theory. It is nothing but a joke. Good night and goodbye.